finished watching a video that broke down how many of the Protestant religions began. And what were you just saying about that? Were you just saying, you just asked a question about how it broke it down? What did you? Yeah. It's interesting. I remember being a little kid. You want? What did you remember your thought?
Why we can't just come up with our own?
Absolutely. Um, that's it, and I'll go into that thought because as a little kid, I remember going to church with my family, and I remember finding out more about the religion. We went to a church called Mount Calvary Missionary Baptist Church. So that church, I didn't know what missionary was when I was a little kid. I didn't know where. I figured Mount Calvary was a place somewhere. I didn't know where. I figured missionary was something. Baptist was who we were. We were that was our denomination, but I didn't know anything about denominations then. And because I only knew Baptist, I knew Baptist and I knew the nuns. I knew the people with the nuns, and I knew that they were different from us, but I didn't know that they were Christians as well when I was little. And when I found out they were Christians, because my grandmother spent so much time in church, I said, why didn't you become a nun? Because you love church a lot. She really didn't like that. She thought I was being smart. But I was just asking because she was at church all the fucking time. Like, if you love church that much, these are some people like you could get in with them. Y'all could go together. Like, it would be a thing. Like, you would have fun, I think, because that seems like what you want to do, is what I'm saying. She didn't like it. She was, and what she said to me though in the moment, and I give her this credit because what she said to me in the moment, what she said, because my people were Baptist and not Catholic. That's what she said. I didn't know what that was, but I accepted it as an answer as a child because I didn't often get answers. So I accepted that, knowing that I could go look up that stuff and find out what it meant. And when I found out what it meant, I found out that Catholic was Christian as well, but it was just another type of Christian who believed something different. So then my mind began to wander. And then I found out about these people called Methodists. African Methodist Episcopal churches, the AME churches, because the church up the street from us was Zion Hill African Methodist Episcopal Church. So I was like, well, what are those?
I started out AME.
Oh, see, I didn't know what that was. So when I learned what AME was, I'm like, oh, wait, but they're all Christians, though. So wait a minute. How do we know we the right ones? Was my immediate thought as a child. How do we know that we are the right ones? How do we know that going to church, this church every Sunday, is not the wrong place that we need to be going? That was because the church up the hill was always rocking and they were in longer. When we got out of church, they were still in church. Like, they churched. So I did not understand how we were so sure that we had the right denomination. And then you get into school and you learn about Henry VIII. And you learn that bastard, he cut not the part about cutting off his wife's head, but because he couldn't get a divorce from his wife, he started a whole other church. So, so now I'm confused. As a kid, I'm like, how do they know that this is right to do? How do they know that this is the right thing to do? How did we get here to the point where the king can now run a religion? He's the king. He's not the pope. He's not a bishop. He's not even a reverend. So how does he get to do a religion? I was confused. So I'll tag the type of the video in the description for this one so that you can look at it and you know that all these people, John Calvin and John Smith and all these mediocre white men who didn't like being ruled by another mediocre white man, decided that they're gonna be the progenitors of their own set of ideas around the same Christian values, allegedly. And that's what they did. Is a bunch of them, they would go, okay, I like what you're doing over here, except I would do this, and this different. And then from that comes a whole other sect of Christianity. So at the end of the video, they tell you that there have been over 35,000 Christian sects. I find that interesting that there are over 35,000 Christian sects. There have been over 35,000 Christian sects for a Jewish man.
I thought he said 75.
I was looking at the screen. I thought it said 35. Either
Okay.
way, that's way too many. 75 or 35,000. How anything after two is really confusing. It's completely made up, unsure. You have no proof. Like nobody has any proof that their way is any better than anybody else's way. What it is they were charismatic enough to find a group of people who they could talk to and sway to just promulgate them into a position where they could spread the word. We've fallen for it over and over and over again. And I think many of us have done that. I didn't know we were going to go down this road, but let's do it. We're here. I didn't know that so many of you, so many people, not so many of you specifically, but the generic you, so many people in general have based their lives and are motivated by their proximity to power. Many of our motivations, whether we are aware of it or not, have to do with our proximity to power. Let me explain.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. There's something that we don't realize that we do, and I've talked about this in other videos before, and I hope that I can give a better feel for it now. We punch down a lot, and we do it in so many different ways that it's not even funny. And we don't even realize that what we're doing is promulgating the position of patriarchy amongst our own people. Not only do we judge people for their hair, we judge people for their clothes, we judge people for their appearance, we judge people for how much money they have, we judge people for the car they drive, we judge people for the way they raise their children, we judge people for the places that they live, we judge people for the type of jobs that they have, we judge people for all of these things. And if those things don't meet a certain metric to us, we talk about them and we look down on them. We do. We look down on people who are different from us. We will watch somebody go down the street who we don't think has on either clean clothes or appropriate clothes for whatever. And we start talking about it. And we don't understand that that is us being gatekeepers of something. We are then gatekeepers of what? Fashion, cleanliness. We are gatekeepers of what it is to be able to be seen in public now. Why is our focus outside of ourselves so much? You are looking at somebody going, their hair don't look, whatever the insult is you decide to throw on that person. Their nails aren't this, that, and the third. And you don't realize that that is a patriarchal idea where you are judging somebody based on something that has nothing to do with the type of character they have because you don't even know who the fuck they are. You're taking a cursory look at this person and making a judgment. We do it to fat people. We do it to people who are disabled. We do it to people obviously because of the colors of their skin. We do it to people if English isn't their first language in this country. We like doing that. We think that people who have an accent are stupider than us, and so we start punching down on them. I can't even count the amount of times that I have been in a Chinese restaurant here in the city that I live in, and some young people walk in, and because the lady behind the counter, English isn't her first language, they start mocking her or him. Whoever's behind the counter, they start mocking them, not realizing that person speaks your language and their language. How dare you? You talk about them, but they have a business in your neighborhood and you can't even get a loan to get a business in your neighborhood. But you're punching down on them. And in the meantime, these same people, unfortunately, are taught very stereotypical ideas about us, not just from the media, but they are reinforced when they come into our neighborhoods and we have people who come into their places of business who act like that. Then they can go see, yeah, they were right about them. When they come and put businesses in our neighborhood and they don't give anything back to the neighborhood, but they will talk about the neighborhood. They don't venture out into the neighborhood, but they got a business in the neighborhood. They'll come into the neighborhood to get the money, but they will despise the people who come into that business and spend the money. They don't give anything back to the community. They come in, they take. And that is a way of punching down. Because we don't realize how that is the whole system in this country. It is made that way. It is always made by you denigrating, not just denigrating, looking down on other people and not realizing that it is those people who hold you up. It is those people who do the menial jobs. It is those people who pick up the trash. It is those people who clean the streets. It is those people who make this place a better, make all the places that we live in better, but doing the things that we don't want to do. But we talk about them. There was a time in this country until we got better knowledge where the garbage man's job was the job that people looked down on, not realizing that man probably made more than most of the people's houses he went by. We talk about the janitor, and the kids make fun of the janitors in school, but those are the people who make sure that those schools are clean enough for your kids and that your kids aren't catching disease and more diseases and more colds and more things like that because they keep it as sanitary as they can. We don't realize that, but we talk about the janitors. We don't respect the janitors. We don't even respect teachers. We say that we do, but we treat them like they are just babysitters. We treat all the teachers like they are babysitters. We don't pay them enough. We don't make the school board pay them enough. And yet we have the audacity to think that the kids are going to learn, even though we know that our kids go there and act a fool and bring the same attitudes that we have at home into the school. So if you wherever you are in your socioeconomic ladder, wherever you are, whatever rung you are on, you are looking down on the teachers and you give that idea to your kids because yes, your kids are always listening. And so then your kids take that idea to school and that's how they treat their teachers. That's how they treat the janitor. That's how they treat the principal. That's how they treat the vice principal. And that's why you don't have the respect in the schools that you should. Because your kids bring your ideas into the school and deposit them. You didn't think we realized that? It's time we do. We have to begin to understand that what we always want to talk about the microaggressions, the racial microaggressions that we face when we are at work. The things that white people do all the time. Oh, you're so well spoken and shit like that. But we don't realize that we do that same type of shit to each other. You get a well spoken black person in front of some other people and they start, oh, you sound white. Oh, they start making references about your education and, oh, you think you're this and, oh, you think you're better. I've been different places. I sound different than you. It's really that simple. You don't have to add nothing else to fuck to it. You could just let it be that there are 8 billion people in this planet and I ain't got to fucking sound like you. The fact that you motherfuckers want to sound alike is weird to me. And the fact that you don't see that there are a bunch of people trying to get you to assimilate into a system and act the same as opposed to celebrating your individuality and you all are going along with the program. Why does it bother you that a man wants to sleep with another man if that man ain't you that he's trying to sleep with? Why does it bother you that a woman would want to sleep with another woman if that woman ain't you that she's trying to sleep with? Why do we try to regulate things that are outside of everyone? That only affect 1 or 2 individuals at a time. If a woman wants an abortion, why do we have to regulate that? Why is that something we think we have to do? Because it is control. It is getting you to give up your autonomy. And they get all of us to have these ideas that we should all be this type of thing. We should all strive toward this type of reality. We should all have these types of jobs. We should all raise our children in this type of manner. No, I don't want my kids to see this. Those kids can't, it's stop already. You can't even see what is in front of you, which is they are stealing everything from us. They have us sitting here waiting on a heaven, and the heaven is right here, and they are taking it, and we are letting them because we are consumed with the other bullshit that they give us to keep us busy. It's like putting a fucking wheel in a hamster cage. You and I both know that no matter how long that hamster runs on that wheel, it's not going to go anywhere. That's what religion is. Religion is the hamster wheel, one of the hamster wheels, one of the many hamster wheels that they have put into our community for us to run on that is not going to get us anywhere. But yeah, go the fuck off. Rock it out. As much as you want to. Run. I am still trying to understand how we do not understand that studying one book for our entire fucking lives and getting no fucking discernment, we are still in the same socioeconomic pattern that we have been since we can remember, and yet we believe that God is blessing us. Your enemies, not even your enemies, your counterparts, let's say that, because they're not necessarily our enemies, but they are our counterparts, have gained their wealth into the billions and trillions, and we are still here wondering how we are going to make ends meet. How is it that you think God is blessing you, but they have everything? How you think that your labor and your toil, you know, as much as you have worked your entire life, and you still haven't been rewarded the way that you should, is because we are doing it wrong. We are listening to the wrong people. We are executing the wrong ideas. And the worst part is we are passing that shit off to our children. So you are crippling another generation with the same handicaps that you had, that you resented, that you thought people should have saved you from, and yet you're going to pass them to your children because you aren't doing your due diligence. The heaven is here. It is now. That is the one thing that they do not want you to know. That is why you see every now and then the pictures on page 6 of the Daily News or the New York Post where you see them on their yachts and you see them vacationing in islands we haven't heard of and doing things that we can only dream of because they have taken all of it from us. They had the understanding that working for an hourly wage is not going to get them that. They steal our sweat equity by the thousands. And we don't demand better. We think we have gotten the idea that the crumbs that they give us is wealth, is prosperity. We think that we have prospered when we have a mortgage in the hundreds of thousands. We think we have prospered when the interest on your car is double what the original value of the fucking car is. We think we have prospered when we not only pay our mortgage, we pay our taxes, and we pay HOA fees, and we pay parking fees, and we pay these fees, and then we get on to get our entertainment, and we don't own a motherfucking thing anymore. You have to subscribe every month for the rest of your life if you want to continue to have access to that Netflix catalog, to that Amazon Prime movie catalog, to that Hulu catalog. There's no ownership in any of that, but they are going to allow you. But now, see, the motive, the driving force at one time was commercials. We didn't want commercials. We wanted to do without the advertisers, and we thought that if we paid money ahead, that they wouldn't have to get so many advertisers, and we would be able to watch shit all the way through with no commercials. And now they say, no, you got to pay more if you don't want commercials. So they're getting money from the advertisers and from the subscribers.
Don't forget about the 5-pound bag of sugar.
The 5-pound bag of sugar that went down to 4 pounds.
And went up in price.
It went up in price. Yeah, everything's gone up in price. I forget what it was I looked at, and I was in the elevator. Now I know red snapper is it's not a cheap fish. Man had it in his basket in the elevator. There were only 2. They were $45 for 2 fish.
Yeah, that they got for free.
Listen, Jesus would have had to take that and feed 5,000 people in order for me to think that was worth it. Listen, 2 fish, 5 loaves. I'd have brought the 5 loaves with those 2 fish.
And the hot sauce.
Like, what the hell is going on? We have been convinced that there is no other way to live but this. And I don't know how to get people to know that idea is completely false. We have been, I don't even know the word. What's the word? Have we been brainwashed? Have we been programmed? Have we been transfixed? Have we been duped? Have we been all the above into living this lifestyle?
Totally fooled.
Thinking that this is the way to live, to keep going for an hourly wage to pay for things that are never going to be yours. How did we miss this change in society? You used to have a DVD collection. Any movie you wanted, you had it at home. You owned it. You could pop it in and play it for your guests anytime. If you don't pay your Netflix account, you can't go back and watch Sense8 anymore. And this is the thing that has permeated throughout society. We don't realize that by joining in all of this, we are doing the job for us. A lot of us are wondering how can I've heard people ask the question because they're paying ICE agents so much money to round up immigrants now, alleged illegal immigrants, and people keep saying, I don't know how people could do that job. I don't know how anybody could do that job. I don't care how much they pay me. I don't know how anybody could do that job. Here's the thing. You do the job already. When you see somebody that you don't like and you talk about them in society and you punch down on them and that person has done nothing to you, you are doing that same job already. When you talk about the crippled person, when you talk about the gay, flamboyant young man that you see on the street, when you see the masculine young lady who is walking or waiting for the bus on the corner with her headphones on, and you judge her, anybody that you are judging outside of yourself, if the girl's weave, if her tracks are loose or whatever, and you see the glue, now you're judging her. If she needs a fill-in on her nail, now you're judging her. If her clothes don't fit or you think they're ill-fitting and she got fat hanging over the side, now you want to talk about her. Oh, what she got on that? She ain't got no friends. I've done it. I'm going to raise my hand. I've done it. But I don't have to do it anymore. I don't have to do it anymore. None of us have to do it anymore. Because that is the same thing as the ICE agents. We just do it in smaller increments. All of us are using our own nuanced, what is it? There's a word. It'll come to me. Using our own selective memory, what we want to selectively, we're against we're against all the right-wing moralist Christian nationals, but yeah, they're right about the homosexuals. A lot of y'all do that. You pick the little parts from it and you hold on to those little pieces. You hold on to those little, you go, no, I don't believe in what they believe in, except this part. You just hold on to this part. I believe that marriage should only be between a man and a woman. I believe that it's okay for billionaires to invest in prisons in our country and have a stake in having them filled. That's reprehensible. But you believe in that because you believe that if you invest in that company, that you get a stake in that. You get dividends, you get feed. So we're selective about the things that we want to be prejudiced against. It's according to our convenience. I don't want to give up my Amazon Prime. I don't want to give up my Netflix. I don't want to give up my Uber Eats accounts. All of these are motherfuckers who have donated to the right-wing moralist Christians. Dunkin' fucking Donuts donated to them. But you still go in there. I got to have my coffee in the morning. I got to have my latte. It's just a latte. How many of you are just a latteing it in there every fucking morning? Across the country, though. Not just in your town, not just at that Dunkin' Donuts, not just in your city, not just in your state. Across the country, there's a bunch of people like you going, it's just a latte. I just got to get it. It's just a latte. We're selective about the things that we want to give up. We are. That's where our hypocrisy lies. That's where our hypocrisy lies. You can't support the system and scream for the system to be abolished at the same time. That's why it still exists. Because there are parts of it that we find comfortable. There are parts of it that we don't want to let go of. And we refuse to see the whole system for what it is. There is no comfort in it for us. There is no come up. There is no better way of life in it for us, except as the way that the white man set it up. And that is in an individualistic way. In a capitalistic way, in a way that disregards human beings, in a way that disregards their value, in a way that disregards all of their labor. You reap the billions while these people are paid hourly wages. Yet they are the ones who are the backbone of your company. And we allow it. We tell them Amazon is a good job. They got benefits. We allow Amazon to buy huge plots of land in our neighborhoods for their warehouses so that they can deliver our packages on time. Because we don't want to give up that 2-day shipping. There's a lot. Listen, the truth will set you free, but at first it is going to make you uncomfortable. That's Napoleon Hill. I heard that today and it shook me. Stopped me dead in my fucking tracks. I don't remember where I fucking was when I heard it. All I know is I stopped when I heard that. No truer words, because that's the truth will set you free. But at first, yeah, you are going to let. That's the thing. Yeah. See, there's this thing called comfort. Thank you for bringing that up. There's this thing called comfort that we have to be uncomfortable with. We have to be uncomfortable with comfort. And we haven't gotten there yet because we are so very comfortable and we work very hard to make our lives comfortable. What we call comfortable. We want to be able to put a key in a door, take our shoes off, get onto a nice soft bed, pick up a remote control, watch a show or two, be able to open a refrigerator and there's food there, be able to go outside and there's a vehicle there. We forget all the other shit that's going on that right now this country is really on fire.
Which they can make your life uncomfortable in a snap.
All of it can go.
In a snap.
Quicker than you can. I don't have a way to express how uncomfortable this shit could get real fast. I wish there was still somebody around that I could put in front of you and allow them to tell you when the Nazis came. Overnight in Germany, shit got uncomfortable. The thing that isn't said often is people always wondered, how did Hitler get away with that? It's because the Germans agreed with him about the Jews. He didn't have to change their minds. Think about that. The Germans agreed with the fact that with Hitler about the Jews. That's how he was able to exterminate not only Jews, because he didn't just exterminate the Jewish people. He exterminated gay people. He exterminated black people. He exterminated anybody who wasn't like the Aryan race that he didn't even look like. See, that's the thing that I think that is fucking weird. Motherfuckers followed a man who had an ideology about a perfect type of person, but he didn't even fit that mold. And people followed him anyway because they agreed about the Jews. When somebody gives you an enemy to hate, you'll follow them to hate that enemy. All they got to do is tell you that that enemy is stealing from you. And that enemy has to be, what in your mind, smaller than you. They have to be defenseless. We don't realize how much we do that. We teach our children to do that. That's why there's so much bullying in school. In kids, as young as preschool, kids bully because what do you think they see at home? What do you think they see in their neighborhoods? What do you think they see on TV? What do you think their parents let them watch? See, because many of you have this weird idea that when you have a small human being, because it is a small human being, you should treat them like little idiots and you should coddle and comfort them. They should have what you all have, quote unquote, called a childhood. Because there is an adulthood, so you think that they should have what you all have called a childhood. Let me explain something to you. And I think, I don't know, and I'm not as well traveled as I desire to be at the moment, but I do know this. There are places in this world where people don't treat their children like little idiots. They treat them like adults in training. They teach them adult things because they are going to spend more of their lives as an adult, maybe, if they live, the natural course of life. If they fulfill their natural course of life and live to the age expectation in their part of the world, they're going to spend more time as an adult than they are as a child. So they use that time to train them to be better adults. We train little people here to be stupid. We give them toys. Yo, what's wrong with toys? Kids got to play. I hear you motherfuckers already. I hear you. That's because you can't imagine a world where people come into the world and are prepared for it immediately without any expectation of frivolity. Why do people expect you to spend your formative years frivolously is the question that you need to be asking. Because they are not training scholars. They are not training leaders. They are training workers. So the first thing they do when you're a little kid, if you're a little girl, they give you a baby doll. Because they want you to, that tells you what industry you're going to be in immediately. The first industry, first and foremost for women, is multiplying. That's why that's the first doll, the first thing that many people hand their precious baby girls. They are ready, even while she is still a child, are preparing her to have a fucking child. And the boys are even worse. You put guns in their hands. Oftentimes. This is only recently a phenomenon where people are going, oh, my boys can't have guns. But here's the thing. Both of those are weird because the world has guns. I haven't heard the parent. Well, there are parents, I have seen them online, who go, I'm going to train my kid how to interact with guns responsibly. As opposed to willy-nilly and just give them a water gun and they go and they shoot, and then the frivolity. We have really given away a huge opportunity for the last 3 generations that I've been alive. A huge opportunity. I don't know why we continue to think that childhood is something where we need to coddle people and make them stupid. They tell us lies in our childhood. Christopher Columbus discovered America. They lie to us. And then we have to go back and unlearn all of the shit that they pumped us with when we were younger. That's because they want us in a mindset of worker. Repetition. Things over and over again. That's the other reason that they push religion. And that's how education works with religion. Education gets you ready to read and write and prepares you to understand concepts and things like that. And in tandem, at the same time, they have your family taking you to these religious places and filling you with a whole bunch of fairy tales, a bunch of concepts that you can't prove. A whole bunch of people that they have no proof existed, doing things that we can't replicate. In that book, they'll tell it to you over and over and over and over and over. They'll find new ways to say the same sentences. They'll find new ideas to apply to the same verses. They'll tell you that they have divine inspiration over the same old books. And they will bring you into their madness. They will bring you into their ecstatic belief. Because that's what it takes for them to get you to believe all that bullshit. It takes excitation. Which is why the minister administers his sermon with so much fervor. It is the excitation. It is to raise the chemicals in your body that are going to enjoin you to these ideas that he is spouting. Mm-hmm. They're taught how to do that. Mm-hmm. They're taught the rise. That's why all the ministers have that same, what is it called? The same way about preaching. It's the way that the rise and fall of their voice, the growl of the certain words that they want to put emphasis on. That whole thing, it's an act. It's a whole performance to get you emotive.
Along with the music in the background.
With the music, thank you. Along with the music in the background.
Doing at the lights in the big mega churches.
So they are appealing. It is a whole bunch of your senses being attacked at once. So that you are kind of like, and basically, for lack of a better term, you're stunned into believing whatever the fuck it is. It makes you more susceptible to the ideas, the music, the stomping of the that is a wave. That is a rhythm. That's a chant. that makes you more susceptible to whatever they're saying while they're doing this. You are more susceptible to it now.
You know, edit this out. What I couldn't understand when, as a kid, you could say what I'm talking to.
Listen, we were just having a sidebar conversation, and my friend was telling me that they used to say that the devil is the prince of music. And when I was younger, my grandmother hated for us to dance. She couldn't stand to see us dance. Anytime we were dancing, she'd keep your body still. Don't move your body like that. That's not nice. That's not how you should be. That's how I grew up. With my grandmother thinking or telling me always, because listen, you can go on. I wish my grandmother was here now. I would always be sending that bitch YouTube links of me dancing. I swear to God. I'm petty like that. Yeah, I would. I would. Because she told me so much as a kid to not dance. And that was joy for me. It was fucking joy. It was better than going to church, because the church that we went to, it wasn't a holiness church. It wasn't a Pentecostal church. It was missionary. And I've been to other missionary churches, and it still wasn't this fucking dead. Our minister he was just short of a cult leader. He really was. He did not allow people to clap in church. You weren't to clap. You weren't to stand up and shout. You weren't to none of that. You couldn't do none of that in the church that I grew up in.
I wonder why your grandma was like that.
She was very austere. She was the whole time. You might get a wow or something like that from the amen corner, but you couldn't all of that shout. None of that. And so it was a culture shock when I went to school in Alabama. And one of the first things Antoine did was join the gospel choir. Child. Talk about motherfucking culture shock. These bitches are falling out and shit. They passing out. They bodies are jerking and they falling into the drum set. Listen, it was entertaining to me. I got a kick out of it. I'm going to stand there. I'm going to watch the whole show. Trust me. But I didn't understand a bit of it. This girl broke her thumb catching the Holy Ghost, playing the drum set with her bare hands during the gospel concert. It ain't that much motherfucking spirit. Listen. But listen, I was experiencing what I was experiencing when I was experiencing it. Fuck it. The book will be out fucking soon. God damn it. So, listen, it was interesting to come from the background that I came from to that shit right there. And then not only that, but we traveled. And so we were in other people's churches. And in the South, there's a lot of little tiny churches on dirt, muddy roads out in fields, like back in some field somewhere. It's a lot of that shit. And so we went to all of these different, and that it was the same. People threw stuff at us. I didn't know about that. I didn't know that was a thing that was positive. Like, they didn't throw heavy objects. It was like throw a tissue, like in a... She is over here dying. I swear to God, they would throw things and be like, sing. And when it first happened, I stopped. Listen, are we leaving now? Is it over? They just threw something. We about to fight. I don't know what's getting ready to happen. I've never experienced that. I didn't know what to do. But luckily, I just stayed calm. Everybody paused. I paused rather, and everybody else kept on singing. I thought that was weird, but all right, I'm gonna rock with y'all for a minute. But yeah, it became a thing. People would throw napkins and they cup of water or whatever. It was a lot. So I've gotten the spectrum in my lifetime of religious experiences when it comes particularly to Baptists, and I've gone through some some experiences with the Muslims too. But nothing as fanciful as these Christians, let me tell you. Nothing. A whole, like, and not the theatrics and the belief, the utter abandonment of logic, the abandonment of let me research anything. It's the only research that this is people's foundation for knowledge was my pastor. If it didn't come from the book, it came from the pastor. Why you need another man to tell you all the stuff to do in life. We'll circle back to that, but it was wild.
But the Bible says, study thyself approved.
It says, "Study who?
Thyself approved.
Study thyself, approve." Yeah, which is the opposite of all of the other gatekeeping and punching down and all the other things that we do in this society. From the things, even the things about judging black women for their hair, how they choose to wear it, whether they choose to wear it natural or whether they choose to chemically straighten it. It really is none of our fucking business. It's somebody's personal choice. We don't know what brought them to that decision that they make about their hair. You really have no idea. And I always tell this story when it comes to like perspective. You just have no idea. You might mean one thing, but you have no control over how somebody takes the idea. I grew up with a mother who never had a new car, so she always told us, "Well, I've never bought a new car." So me and my sister both went out and bought new cars because we were always told that by my mother that she never had a new car. None of us knew. We didn't want that to be our story. What my mother was trying to convey to us was, you don't need a new car to make it through, but she didn't get that point across. What she got across was she never had a new car. I couldn't tell you what else she said after that sentence. I just know I heard that sentence over and over again. So to wrap all of this up, there is a price for our emotion. There is a price for our emotion. And people know that, and people use our emotion as currency. Because know that your emotion is energy. Your energy is something that people feed off of. People need your energy to make things work. And I don't mean in a abstract way. I mean, your energy powers wherever your job is. Your energy powers your house. Your energy powers your life. You don't realize how much is generated just by the fact that you are alive. You you contribute to industry in a big way just by being fucking alive. You contribute to the food industry, the transportation industry, the housing industry. You contribute to transportation, the clothing industry. You contribute to the the health and beauty aid industry. You contribute to the medical industry. You contribute to everything you fucking touch: appliances, electronics, cigarettes, plants, anything you can touch, anything that you have in your house. You contribute to that industry. So that being said, your energy is all over the fucking place. It's everywhere. It's everywhere in every store you go into, and everywhere you shop, every place that you have worked, your energy is there. Every religious place that you go, your energy, people are using your energy. If your energy stops showing up, these places close. Not the specific you, the generic you. People stop showing up, these places close. They work on our energy. Please know that. And you please know that your energy is yours and it can be used in a much better way. You do not have to. There's a saying that comparison is the thief of joy, which is one of my favorite sayings. It's one of my sayings that brings me back to center. If I am comparing myself in any shape, form, or fashion, which isn't something that I do often, but if I catch myself doing it, I can look. Comparison is the thief of joy. You don't have to compare yourself to anybody else. And it truly is. I can physically feel my body change when I am in comparison. When somebody else puts me in comparison, I can feel my energy change. So knowing that I don't have to compare myself to anyone allows me to be me all day, authentically, in errors, in what we call errors. Because I have this thing about errors. There's no such thing as a mistake. It's just us moving through the world trying to experience it. And so we touch things, and some things we like, and some things we don't, and some things we don't know what we're going to do. So we go ahead a little bit, and then we back up a little bit. Like, it's just us touching the world. It's not right. It's not wrong. It is our experience. They have got us into this mindset that there's such a thing as right and wrong. And no, it's not. What's right for me is not going to always be right for you. What's wrong for you is not always going to be wrong for me. It might be the most right thing in the world, but we listen to motherfuckers who tell us what is right and what is wrong, because we have been inundated with these ideas our entire life. We enjoin them and agree. Even down to things like I'm a murder. We all think that murder is wrong. Murder is reprehensible, right? Animals murder each other every day. I'll let that sit. You say, but we're not animals. But we murder each other every day. So either we're animals or not. Which one is it? Because we're doing what the animals are doing. Our behavior tells us that. Right and wrong depends on where the fuck you are in the moment. If you are on a battlefield and a man is pointing a gun at you and you have one, and you point it back at him and kill him, is that murder or is that self-defense? If someone breaks into your home and you have a weapon to defend yourself and you kill the intruder, is that murder or is that so? See, and depending on what state you're in, it's a different thing. But see how things like that switch the determination of right and wrong in your brain? Then it's not necessarily wrong to kill somebody, is it? If they in your house with a gun and they getting ready to rape your wife and beat your kids, then it's not necessarily murder, is it? Now we have a different name for it. Now we're calling it something else. So be aware that people are using those types of ideas and switching them on and off for their what is the word? Somebody help me.
Benefit.
Thank you. For their benefit. Trust that there are people killed specifically. These are things that we know. We don't doubt anymore the veracity of what is in the movies and some of the things that we see, and know that it's actually playing out in real time as well. Please know. Please understand though. These things are going to take attention, right? They take very specific attention. It can't be the attention that you've been giving to your religion all this time. It can't be the attention that you've paid in your marriage. It can't be the same attention that you give at work. This is going to take spiritual attention. You have to be able to discern the places that you want your energy to go and the places that it doesn't deserve to go. You have to begin to look and research some things and find out what it is they're telling you that's true and what isn't. You have to begin to look for proof. You have to begin to demand proof when somebody is telling you something. It is that time in the world, in our history. We can no longer accept things without proof. I say this, I think this is like the tagline at the end of every show. We can no longer accept things without proof. Because your children are at risk. Your children's futures are at risk. Your grandchildren's futures are at risk. We don't get to turn an ear and a deaf ear and go, oh well, that happened and da, da, da. No. If you are still here, you are still effective, and you need to be effective. So please examine your proximity to power. Are there things in your, like this example I gave on one show? We don't have free education in this country because white people, the white majority in this country, they didn't want black people to be able to go to school with them. Not for free anyway. That's why all of us had to pay. It's the same thing with healthcare. It's the same reason we don't have free healthcare in this country. Because white people thought that if they added co-pays and deductibles and things like that, it would keep black people out. But it became the whole policy for everybody, and now everybody suffers. But they would rather suffer than allow everybody to be equal. Some of us have picked up that same prejudice. We don't realize it, but when you're talking about the lady on the bus, or the woman walking down the street who doesn't look the way that you think she should, or the young man whose pants are sagging, or whatever, whose shoes are run over, who looks a little dirty, whose smell isn't what you think it should be, whatever the thing is, we need to understand that is the same thing as the ICE agents. We are micro-policing our own. We are doing what did they call them? The head house nigga used to do. We trying to keep all the other good niggas in line for the master. We're trying to assimilate everybody and get them together before master come and see us looking like this. Everybody need to be having their hair done, nails done, everything did. Everybody need to be doing the same type of job. Master John coming. Who the fuck are we performing for? Huh? Who the fuck are you performing? Like, really? You think it's cool when you do it in front of your friends? Your friends know that when you do it to those people, you'll do it to them. That's what your friends know. That's what your friends know. If you do it to the least of us, what you do to the least of us, you have done to me. Where's that from? Yeah, yeah. I need y'all to. There's a song and I love this woman. Her and the movie that I went to go see today that I was talking about earlier is the Spike Lee's newest movie. It has Denzel Washington in it, right? And I grew up going to the movies to see Spike Lee. Like the job that I worked as a teenager took us to the movies. That's how dope it was. Like that's what the time that was how dope my life has been. I worked a job where they took us to the fucking movies to go see the newest Spike Lee joint because it was socially relevant at the time. Well, it still is. All of his movies are. But in this particular movie that I watched today, there were so many different things that I think I need to go watch it again. I think I really need to go watch it again. But it reminded me of Whoopi Goldberg is what I was trying to get to. Because around that same time, or even before, Whoopi Goldberg came onto the scene as a comedian, and she was doing her one-woman show on Broadway in New York, and I got to see it on HBO when I was like 11 years old. And it's like the anniversary time, so they're playing it again. But in one of Whoopi Goldberg's movies, in the Sister Act movie, I think it's the second one, the one with the kids and Lauryn Hill in it. There's a song that she sings. I said all of that to get to this song. there's a song. There's a song that she sings, and the words, if you want to be somebody, if you want to go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention.